Hello, my name is Kathleen Quinlan. My specialty area is in education. I have a PhD in educational psychology from Stanford University, so I'm American. And I have a special focus in my research on learning and teaching and student development and faculty development in higher education. I've taught in Australian, American, and now English universities. I now teach and do research here at the University of Oxford. So I'll be speaking to you from my experience of having worked in universities in those three countries. We're going to be talking today about making the most of higher education in English-speaking countries. I've not lived in every single English-speaking country, mind you, but I have, as I said, worked in those three main contexts. I'm assuming that most of you are studying academic English, so I'm assuming that many of you are planning to pursue higher education in a country in a predominantly English-speaking country. So that might be the US, it might be the UK, it might be Australia, or Canada, or some other English-speaking country, Ireland. While there are significant differences in these settings, those are beyond the scope of our talk today. Rather, I want to talk about some of the fundamental underlying assumptions that underpin education across those various countries. In any of these settings, you will have the opportunity to create possibilities for yourself, to expand your own choices. You're starting down a path, as this image suggests. And while you may have some visions about what lies ahead, there'll be some surprises as well. You can't predict from here what might lie around the next bend on that journey. And what we would hope then is that you'll be alert to the unexpected, to those possibilities that will arise only through taking that journey. Through this lecture, I'm hoping that you will consider why you want to study in an English-speaking university. I want you to have a better understanding of what you can expect from a liberal university education. And I expect that you will gain some very specific recommendations and actions, strategies for enhancing your overseas education. To get the most from the lecture, I'd like you to take out a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. And I'm going to pause at various points during the lecture and ask you a reflection question. And I want you to take a moment at that point to write down some answers. Think about it, just jot down some answers. We won't have an opportunity today with such a large group to get feedback from all of you, but we will have a chance to talk about that in a tutorial setting. So save your answers for that discussion. Doing that will help you, though, to stay awake. We certainly want you to do that in the late afternoon. And it will also help to keep you focused on what we're talking about today and engage you in thinking about the key points. Once you've had a chance to think about these questions, you'll be better prepared to hear the kinds of responses that I'll be giving to those, some of which are drawn from key literature and key educational ideas. So you can watch for these reflection points. They're in red print on the slides, and they have a big red question mark on them. So that should give you a clue that we're at that point. While you will get some very practical tips on how to get the most from your university education through this talk, we must first understand the assumptions that underpin higher education in English-speaking countries. So I'll highlight some key ideas from the field of education and link those key assumptions back historically to its historical roots in ancient Greece. So the talk will also be theoretical. As a prominent educational researcher once said, nothing is as practical as a good theory. So we will have a very practical element even when we're talking about theory. And of course, by looking at theories of education, you'll get a taste of a typical lecture in the field of education. So our talk addresses three main questions today. What is university learning? How can you make the most of that educational experience? And what do you want to get out of a university education?